talking about young talents, save the name of Jeremy Monga, because Jeremy Monga is one of the best talents in England in this moment, 16 years old, very talented, playing for Leicester City. I told you that Arsenal sent 2 bids to Leicester City to try and get the deal done for Monga. Arsenal were quite optimistic to sign this boy and make him part of their future projects as a talent for the future again. But in this case, when you don't close the deal for over 1 month, be careful. And that's the case also for Jeremy Monga, because Manchester City are hijacking the deal for Jeremy Monga to Arsenal. Manchester City have an important project to the player. I'm told that Enzo Maresca is also involved.
Hello Gunners, welcome back to Arsenal Daily Talk, your #1 destination for the latest Arsenal transfer news, breaking updates, match analysis and everything happening at the Emirates. If you love Arsenal as much as we do, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's dive straight into today's massive Arsenal news. Come on, you Gunners, ladies and gentlemen, we have a major transfer update that could completely change Arsenal's summer plans. Just when it looked like Arsenal were leading the race to sign one of England's brightest young talents, everything appears to have taken a dramatic turn. Multiple reports now suggest that Manchester City have entered the race for 16-year-old Leicester City sensation Jeremy Monga, with new City manager Enzo Maresca playing a significant role in trying to convince the teenager to choose the Etihad over the Emirates. Arsenal are still in the race, but what once looked like a straightforward move has suddenly become a fierce battle between 2 Premier League giants. This isn't just another academy signing. Jeremy Monga is regarded as one of the most exciting young prospects in English football. He has already made history by becoming one of the youngest players ever to feature in the Premier League, and later broke the Championship's record for youngest goalscorer. Those achievements explain why so many top clubs are monitoring his progress. Arsenal have been working on this deal for weeks. Reports indicated the Gunners had already opened discussions with Leicester City and were pushing hard to bring the teenage winger to North London as part of their long-term vision under Mikel Arteta and sporting director Andrea Berta. Earlier reports even suggested Arsenal had submitted an opening offer, although negotiations with Leicester were still ongoing. But now comes the twist that has every Arsenal supporter talking. Manchester City have reportedly decided they do not want Arsenal to have a free run at signing Monga. Instead, City have entered the race and are attempting to persuade the youngster that his future belongs in Manchester. A key factor is Enzo Maresca, who previously coached Monga during his spell at Leicester and is said to be using that relationship to present City's project to the player. That connection could prove important. Young footballers often value familiarity and trust when making career-defining decisions. If Monga already knows Maresca's coaching methods and believes he can continue his development under him, City may have a compelling argument. On the other hand, Arsenal can point to their own record of giving talented teenagers opportunities at first-team level. So the big question for Arsenal fans is simple. Can the Gunners hold on to their advantage, or will Manchester City complete a dramatic hijack? One thing is certain. This story is far from over, and the coming days could determine where one of England's brightest young stars continues his career. Jeremy Monga is not attracting attention simply because of his age. Plenty of young footballers are labelled as the next big thing, but only a handful convince elite clubs like Arsenal and Manchester City to compete for their signature at just 16 years old. That tells you everything about how highly he is rated. So what makes Jeremy Monga so special? The first thing scouts notice is his confidence. Most teenagers are cautious when they step onto a senior pitch, but Monga plays without fear. He is willing to take on defenders one-on-one, attack space that cannot easily be coached. They come naturally. His pace is another major weapon. When he receives the ball in wide areas, he immediately looks to drive forward. Defenders are forced to back off because they know he has the acceleration to beat them. Once he creates that yard of space, he can either deliver a dangerous cross, cut inside to create chances, or link up quickly with teammates. Another reason Arsenal reportedly admire him is his football intelligence. Even at such a young age, he understands movement off the ball, pressing from the front, and finding pockets of space between defenders. These are qualities that fit perfectly into Mikel Arteta's tactical philosophy, where every player is expected to contribute both in possession and out of possession. His versatility also makes him an exciting prospect. While he is naturally a winger, he has shown he can operate across different attacking positions. Modern football demands flexible players, and Arsenal have consistently targeted footballers who can adapt to multiple roles during a match. That explains why Arsenal's recruitment team have reportedly monitored his development so closely. The club has invested heavily in identifying elite young talent before their value explodes, and Monga appears to fit that profile. Instead of waiting until a player becomes a £70 million superstar, Arsenal have often tried to recruit outstanding prospects much earlier in their careers. But this is exactly why Manchester City's reported interest has become such a concern for Arsenal supporters. Whenever City decide to compete for a young player, the battle immediately becomes more difficult. Their world-class facilities, recent success, and reputation for developing elite footballers make them a powerful rival in any transfer race. Reports now suggest that City believe Jeremy Monga has the potential to become an important player for their future, which is why they have entered discussions instead of allowing Arsenal to complete the move without competition. From Monga's perspective, this is likely to be one of the biggest decisions of his young career. Does he choose Arsenal, a club that has built an exciting young squad under Arteta and regularly gives opportunities to developing players? Or does he choose Manchester City, where he could reunite with Enzo Maresca and continue working with a coach who already knows his strengths? At this stage, no final agreement has been confirmed. Reports indicate that both clubs remain interested, and Leicester City are aware that they possess one of the country's brightest young prospects. That means negotiations could still change quickly over the coming days. For Arsenal, this is about more than signing one teenager. It is about protecting the club's long-term recruitment strategy. Missing out on one of England's best young talents to a direct Premier League rival would be disappointing, but winning this battle would send another strong message that Arsenal remain one of the most attractive destinations for elite young players. And there is another major question that every gunner is asking right now. What role could Enzo Maresca's relationship with Jeremy Monga play in this transfer battle? Could that connection be enough to swing the race toward Manchester City, or does Arsenal still have the stronger overall project? We'll examine that crucial battle in the next part, where we break down why Maresca's influence could become the biggest factor in one of the most fascinating transfer stories of the summer. As we wrap up today's massive Arsenal transfer update, one thing is clear: this story is far from finished. Jeremy Monga has become one of the most talked about young players in English football, and it's easy to understand why. At just 16 years old, he has already attracted interest from some of the biggest clubs in the country. Arsenal have reportedly been working to convince him that the Emirates is the perfect place to continue his development, while Manchester City's reported interest has turned the situation into one of the most intriguing transfer battles of the summer. For Arsenal, this is about much more than signing another talented youngster. It is about continuing the club's long-term strategy of identifying elite prospects before they become global stars. Over the past few years, Arsenal have invested heavily in building a squad capable of competing for the biggest trophies while also securing the future with exciting young talent. Jeremy Monga fits that vision perfectly. But Arsenal also know they face serious competition. Manchester City have built an outstanding reputation for attracting top prospects, and reports linking Enzo Maresca with efforts to convince Monga show just how seriously they are taking this pursuit. If those reports are accurate, Arsenal will need to present a compelling football project to win the race. Ultimately, the decision will belong to Jeremy Monga and his family. They will consider every factor carefully: development, coaching, opportunities, and the environment that gives him the best chance of becoming an elite footballer. At this stage, no final agreement has been confirmed, so supporters should expect more twists before the story reaches its conclusion. One thing every gunner can agree on is this: Arsenal cannot afford to stand still. Whether the club signs Jeremy Monga or turns to another highly rated youngster, continuing to strengthen both the first team and the academy will remain a key part of the club's ambitions. We'll keep following every reliable update as this transfer saga develops. If there is a breakthrough, an official announcement, or a major twist, you'll hear about it right here on Arsenal Daily Talk. Now it's over to you, Gunners. Do you think Arsenal will win the race for Jeremy Monga? Would you choose Arsenal's project or Manchester City's if you were in his position? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinions. If you enjoyed today's update, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to Arsenal Daily Talk, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Arsenal transfer news, breaking updates, match analysis, and exclusive discussions. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, come on you Gunners!